Angelified, Jimmy Beam and Bly, reaching highest where we reach, yo, as high as to the stars. Beats in the villain Jeep, vibrating other cars. Whose world is this? Yo, we say the world is ours. So we grow beards, no fear, photos so clear. Take another shot, so to speak, yeah, more beer. BV worldwide, put a fist to the sky. Cheers, cheers, New Year's, dope rhyme, good vibes. My crew speaks power, Chi-Town bleeds power. Knowledge, wisdom, and truth in the final hour. Respect, loyalty, family, charity speaks power. Here the village brotherhood speaks honor. Forwards and onwards, stay villain to the end. I will never shave again because my beard is not a trend. I represent excellence, leadership, and never follow. I'm a BBC member, yo, lieutenant of Chicago.
One brotherhood, one ship. Stay bearded, stay villain. One brotherhood, one ship. Stay bearded, stay villain. It's BV, 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 it's BV. Yo, all I see.
Hello, and welcome to episode 47. Episode 47 of The Heart of a Villain, the podcast and live stream devoted to the bearded villains' worldwide brotherhood and the lives they are changing all over the world. Guys, thanks so much for being here. If you are tuning in live, like a handful of people are tonight, some of our regulars are missing, but that's okay. People have things to do, and you can catch up later on YouTube or on any podcast platform. But those of you who have taken the time out tonight, I greatly appreciate it, so thank you very much. I'll acknowledge you in just a minute. Everybody else that's listening on a typical podcast platform, thank you so much for also listening. You guys have been my inspiration from day one with all the great things that you guys are doing around the world. So I continue to tip my hat to you guys, and you guys rock. So thanks again, everybody, for being here. It is Friday night, and as you know, that means that's the Heart of a Villain night, Friday Night Live, where we come to you, we talk about some brotherhood stuff, share some of the things that our brothers are doing out there in the world, and it's always a good time. Real quick, I just have to point out, I got some new graphics you'll probably be noticing go through the night. This little border that's on the screen right now is a little new one. I changed that up a little bit. Some of the bordering on the intro screen, those of you watching on YouTube, a little bit different with that stuff too. So got a few other things. So those of you who are new to the podcast or the live stream, I am BP, Brian Phillips, but BP from Bearded Villains of Indiana, host of The Heart of a Villain. Those of you who, well, we'll just get into that later. Again, thanks everybody for being here. This week is going to be a fun episode, I think, because I'm going to show a little behind the scenes interview part of what I affectionately am referring to as a shit show. I'll say it. I didn't bleep myself out when I said that, so I apologize. I could just say it was a... Nope. We'll try it again. Shit show. Yeah, something like that. Anyway, try to use my fancy gadgetry when I wasn't prepared for doing so. But, yeah. So what this episode is going to be focused on, we're going to talk a little bit about brotherhood. Now, one of the things that I did do is earlier this week, I reached out, put a little post out there on the Instagram and asked people to respond, answering the question, what brotherhood means to you. So I've got a few responses, and we'll talk about, just give some credit to the people that did reach out, and not necessarily by name, but at least mention what it was that they took the time to answer back with, what it means to them. And then also we're going to talk about the Four Corners meet. And those of you who don't know, we're going to get into what the Four Corners meet is. You may have heard about it before, but we're going to talk about why the Four Corners meet is so unique and so important to so many people. And it's really hopefully going to make those of you who have never been want to be there, want to go. And I'm doing this a week out. So you guys are going to have the opportunity to reach out and see if you can sneak over there to Colorado in the next week. To get to this thing. And I wanted to plan it out this way specifically because there might be some people on the fence, not sure what the Four Corners meet is, But you're going to hear firsthand from several people. This interview this week is a multi-chapter interview. And that's part of the reason why I said it was a shit show earlier, because we tried to do a huge interview via both Skype and or line. And it turned into, well, those of you in the early days of the COVID pandemic, when we all had all these video chats going on, you know how crazy some of that stuff can get when you add in all these people. Well, I should have known better, but somebody suggested, why don't we try and do a huge interview? And I knew what would happen, and that's exactly what did happen. So I am going to share with you just a few minutes of the mess that became, and then an actual interview where I compartmentalized all the different little groups of the different things that I spoke to guys about. And that turned out to be a really great interview as a whole, talking to all these guys. So we'll get into that in just a few minutes. But yeah, that's what this episode's about. And I think you guys are going to really enjoy it. It was a lot of fun for me this week. It was a lot of work for me, because trying to edit what was essentially 5 or 6 interviews in concise format and take out what didn't need to be there just to get the message across to you guys. So I spent a little bit more time editing pre-interview this, or pre-roll this week. And but it was a lot of fun for me too to go back on some of these things. So we're just going to I'll just get right into that real quick here and talk for a minute about, let's give a little bit of shout out to those people who are on the YouTube right now. First of all, Rob is in the house. Love seeing Rob here. These guys that are from overseas, you know what it means? It means a lot. It means a ton. You guys are taking time out of not your night, your morning, whether you're working or wherever you are giving up time and sleep in your guys' case to be here. So I do appreciate it. But Gator's in here. Rob, of course, like I said, Hillbilly's in the house. We also have Aaron. I saw Jimmy in here as well. Gator was flipping in and out. So far so good, guys. I appreciate you guys. Gator, you did miss the post, but if you want to pop in the comments what you think, how you would equate what brotherhood means, I can include that here in just a minute when I start talking about that. But it's coming up quickly, so you'll have to get your fingers going. And Bearded Hedgehog is in the house also. Welcome. Okay, guys. So, as I said, this week I put out a question to you all, asking what brotherhood means to you. And only a handful of you decided. I saw well over 100 people saw the post, but only a handful of people, which is typical on those story posts, actually take the time out and answer the question, which is great. But I wanted to go through a couple real quick, because they did stick out. The ones that did take the time to answer the question, I thought it was very cool. One of our brothers said, "What is brotherhood? It is never having to worry that someone has my back." Somebody else says, "Loyalty is supporting each other through thick and thin." It means, another brother says, it means sticking together through thick and thin. A commonality there, no matter what our differences are. It means standing with the guy next to you when needed. Very well said. Loyalty, friendship, community, having someone there and being there for someone, truth and honesty. I like that also. One of our brothers up in Canada, he said, means being there for each other, helping each other become the best versions of ourselves. He continued on by saying, in one word, loyalty. We had another brother that answered, standing shoulder to shoulder with your mates. That's what brotherhood is, guys. And I think we have been tested as of late. Not necessarily in super bad ways, but boy, we have been tested. We have absolutely been tested. It's been a rough week in BV circles this week because, as many of you know, we lost a brother this week. And I think it's important to take a minute out and acknowledge what the loss that we as Bearded Villains are feeling, the loss that the brothers in North Mississippi are feeling. Ronnie, you are missed, loved, and words just can't express the shock that we felt earlier this week with Ronnie's passing. And I don't know what we can say more, guys. You know, at times like this, we are confused. We ask why. We want answers to questions that we know will never come. And what we continue to need to do for each other is to simply be brothers. Just as those other brothers just indicated what brotherhood is. We need to be there for one another. We need to especially be there for those who knew Ronnie best and were the closest to him. But we can't stop reaching out. You cannot reach out to your brothers enough. It's so important for us, especially right now with everything that's going on and people still being separate. But even every day, we need to be making sure that our brothers know that we're there and going out of our way to, hey, checking in on you. How are you doing? This is Suicide Prevention and Awareness Month, and we have a lot going on. There are a lot of guys struggling at different times of the year. And even though this month seems to be a month where more is thought of, more attention is paid to suicide prevention and suicide awareness, but that's something that we need to be thinking about and constantly needs to be on our minds all year round. Now, during the month of September here in the States, I know for sure, and I believe other areas as well, you know, we have to, you know, we will be paying special attention to that through different fundraisers, different things like that come out. And so I urge you to pay special attention to those, see what you can do to help out. If that means it's financial, if that means that it's just taking part in some sort of an awareness event. But the most important thing you can do is check yourself, check your brothers, check other people that are not in Bearded Villains. You know, we are a brotherhood, but we can't forget that there's other people that are affected by our lives as well. And so you need to be cognizant of that, and we need to stay in, and we need to be talking to each other. So, Ronnie, you are missed, and will continue to be so. I don't know how much more I can say, but just check in on your guys, check in on your brothers, guys. We don't want to see this. We absolutely do not want to see this. Okay. So the four corners, we're going to get into that in just a second. I'm going to bring in one of our comments here from Gator. Gator always lifts us up with inspiration and his little daily videos that he sends us online for us to read. But the dude has some good words, and I'm just going to bring this in here. Gator brings up here, the love and support that everyone has shown for Ronnie is the perfect example of brotherhood. Everyone has stood up to right some wrongs and to also show their love and support, and I know for a fact. Thank you, Gator. Great words there. Appreciate you sticking your comments in there, and yeah, absolutely, the outpouring has been awesome. So let's get into it. What is the Four Corners meet? Well, the Four Corners meet, guys, for those of you who may not know, it is a meeting. It is a chapter meet around where the four corners are. So if you do not know, I'm going to get fancy here for just a minute. And I'm going to show you this little map. Pay attention now. As we scroll in on the great state of Colorado, in Cortez, Colorado, is where we will find the four corners meet. And I'll just replay that little clip again so you can see about where it's at, because we're going to get all sorts of fancy here. But as we scroll in, it's Cortez, Colorado. It's not that far away for a lot of you, but for many of us, it is a drive. But it is a place where four states meet up. Four states will meet up together, and there is a monument there, but we're going to talk to some brothers here who are very aware and have been greatly affected by some of the amazing things that happen at this Four Corners meet. So we're going to pop right out of this now. First, I want to show you what I'm referring to as the shit show. This was about 3 minutes of what was a 45-minute conversation in this fashion. Now, just to give you a quick little backstory, the beginning of this, we pushed the limits of Skype, and Skype said, we're not having this. This phone call is not happening. This video call is not happening, and Skype crashed on us. So we had to move over to line. We're online, and as you know, if you've been on any one of these multiple person chats within line, this is exactly what happens. So I'm going to play this for you. I hope you guys enjoy it like I did. It's a mess, but you'll understand why I had to switch it over to the other one in just a second here.
Apologize to you,
see
not
where the
mayhem.
next Throw Punch Thursday is coming from.
Yes.
Oh yeah,
please.
that
Please.
scares me.
This is exactly what it's like around the campfire at Four Corners. It's all of us trying to talk over each other.
Literally.
If I'm not getting chips stacked on me.
That only happened because you drank. That only happened because you drank the beer I told you not to.
That wasn't the only reason.
We should have had like
He's gonna drink the Kool-Aid.
That was a lot.
we should have had like a picture
That
slideshow
chocolate was
where, like,
really good. Let's just say that. Oh shit.
Yeah, I think Fearless knows about that, right?
Yep.
He enjoyed that
Fearless
tent
opened
for a
the
while.
tent for about, I think it was about 12 hours.
He was
all
pretty
for
close to it.
good.
Yeah, it was a good day.
Wow. Well, guys, oh man. Well, I know that if I
do not envy BP for having to edit this shit.
oh my gosh, I have no idea what's going to happen. here.
Yeah.
I have no idea what I'm going to do. This is going to be a major struggle here. I may have to just let the whole thing play out as is in real time.
You know what? Just throw the whole thing out. Don't edit any of it. Leave it all in.
That's what I'm
If
saying.
you still have listeners after this episode, you're going to do 1,000 episodes.
Yep.
You're the lawyer, yeah.
That's what I think I'm going to do.
I'm just going to make the suggestion, BP. Maybe you should just scrap this episode.
No, I won't scrap.
You either scrap it or you can send it.
Yeah.
I'll just
send it. Don't even bother trying to edit. Don't edit any of the stuff beforehand.
Do it
We're
raw.
raw and uncensored out in the desert, man. So you might as well
Raw
just
and
do it.
dirty.
Yeah, this
It's
is
like the camping trip, raw and dirty.
Yep.
this is going to be one for the
what
books.
happened was
Yeah. This.
You
Oh
didn't-
boy.
think this out, BP.
I talked to Rudy, and I said, "Yeah, let's do it."
I can see the trigger warning on this right now.
I said,
Actually, what I was thinking is BP in his mind is actually going.
"Yeah, this is going to be a fun one because
Don't leave us hanging.
I'm going to have to do a parental
Kinda
guidance."
froze up
I think
there.
he froze again.
Who, me? Me? Anyway, yeah. So this is going to be a parental guidance suggested.
It was definitely me.
Okay.
Oh, we know
And
that. Yeah.
and Max warned me coming into it. He was like, "Don't cuss."
Yeah, this turned into a major shit show.
You could just
That's
move
okay.
Josh. That's okay.
See, that's what I'm talking about.
See, Rudy agrees.
You keep your thumb out of it, Rudy.
You come anywhere close to me, you know where that thumb's gonna go. Calm down.
Yes.
I'm ready for it this time.
All right, guys. I'm gonna
You
call.
better sort yourself out, or I'm gonna come talk to you.
I'm gonna call it. Yeah. Okay, so that's just a snippet, and it probably hurt your ears. It was funny and it was fun, but I walked away from that thinking my head hurts. My head hurt after that. So, yeah, but I was happy to hear some of the stories and reach back out to these guys so I could talk to them. Some of them schedules wouldn't work up with some of the guys that were pictured in there, but I wasn't able to get back in touch with Rudy from Phoenix. But I just want to show you guys. I just want to say thanks to the guys that are going to be on here in just a minute, where I spliced together a really nice interview, I thought, with Sergeant Mayhem from Bearded Villains Rocky Mountain, Josh, the captain at Bearded Villains Utah, Max from Bearded Villains Utah, John, the captain of Bearded Villains Rocky Mountain, and Big Oak, captain of Bearded Villains Phoenix. So I reached out to these guys and I said, what is it about the Four Corners meet that is so special? And every single one of them resoundingly talked about the difference between what the Four Corners meet is compared to everything else. And I want you to pay special attention to that because it is different and it's important, especially right now. If you guys have any chance at all working it out in your schedule that you can take a couple of days off and it's just a drive, I know it's a long drive for some, but if you have any wherewithal at all that you can get there, please, and especially if this time, right now, if you are going through something, if you are struggling and you think you need some bro time, some brotherhood time, this is your event. This is for you, much needed. So by all means, reach out, check it out. This interview, I was really happy with the answers that we got from these guys, talking about the differences between what the Four Corners meet is compared to everything else, what it means to them. And one of the funny things is that I noticed in this interview is that for many guys that are in that area, that are in these chapters, this was their first multi-chapter meet. So, and in some cases, for some of these guys, it was their first indoctrination at all, their first event of any kind for Bearded Villains. So you can imagine when you hear these stories and what these guys talk about, I'm telling you what, these guys are lucky that this was their first BV event, but the ones that talked about it that way. But this will make you, if you can't make it this year and you've always just kind of heard about what the Four Corners meet is, you're going to want to go. You're going to want to be there this year, and you're going to want to be there every year after. For those of you who are overseas, and obviously it's much more difficult for you to make this, what I would encourage you to do, and after you hear this, maybe you're doing this already. Maybe over in the UK, some of you guys are doing this, and maybe in Australia, in Sweden, some of you guys are doing this. But what I recommend to you is do something like this. Find a way in your countries to do something like this. It's amazing to hear the stories, and you can just see it in their eyes when they're talking, how much it affected them and how much it continues to do so. So here is my interview with Sergeant Mayhem, with Josh, Max, John, and Big Oak. How you doing, buddy?
Not bad, man. Not bad. Thanks for having me on.
Oh, absolutely, man. I know this is going to be a really cool event, and we tried. I will make mention we tried to have a big old group conversation earlier, and didn't work out so well. So we're going to go back individually. But tell me a little bit about. I know that you have an interesting story with the connection to the Four Corners meet and how it originated. So Can you tell me a little bit how that happened and what is the Four Corners meet?
Well, so for everybody who doesn't know, there's a spot in the United States where 4 states meet at one exact point, and those states are Colorado, Utah, Arizona, and New Mexico. So back about 5 years ago, when I was about to turn 40, I wanted to do something really special for my 40th birthday. And I kind of hadn't been camping in a really long time, so I thought it'd be a really cool thing to camp, because Colorado is a great state for that. Well, I started talking to some of the other guys from the Four Corner states, and we all kind of agreed that we should do one big group camp out down and do the Four Corners Monument. So at the time, I got in touch with Chev, who was captain of Phoenix at the time, the Honey Badger, Jesse, who was the captain of New Mexico, Gunner, who was the captain of Utah, and myself, who was the captain of Rocky Mountain at the time. And we organized this big kind of group camp out in the desert in Cortez. So after doing a little research, we found that you can camp on Bureau of Land Management land for free, as long as you pack it in, pack it out, and take good care of the area. Well, we went out. That's where we camped. We had guys from a whole crew of guys from Oklahoma. We had guys from New Mexico, Utah, Colorado, Phoenix, Texas, Vegas. Lots of guys came out and made the trip. And these are guys I've been talking to for about a year already. And to finally meet these guys in person was a really, really unique experience. It was like my first real big meet. It was before the second Vegas World Meet, so it was in between Vegas 1 and Vegas 2.
Okay.
And so then the next year, we couldn't really get it together, and then the year after that, somebody tried to get it together, and it didn't really happen. But about 3 years ago, Demo, the Bearded Positivity, hit me up. And he says, "Hey, we should do like Mayhem Mountain Madness and do like a big other group thing again." And I said, "Well, if we're gonna go camping again, let's just bring back Four Corners." So this time around, I got in touch with Big Oak and Rudy and Max in Utah, and we kind of said, "Hey, this is what we want to do," and we got it back together. And this is like our third annual Four Corners meet. The first one was kind of, an outlier, and then we skipped 2 years, but now here we are, now 3 years strong.
Yeah.
Well, honestly, it brings back some of the olden days when the guys would get together at like a speakeasy and just kind of chill out, and they did their own things away from family, kids, work, responsibilities. They could just go into this room, and it was another world where they can just chill and hang out with somebody that is going through the same shit.
I think Four Corners makes it very special because it's the only meeting that is only for brothers. So you can't bring your spouse. You can bring your dog, or your house pig if you want to, but that's kind of about it. You can bring your spouses, your boyfriends, girlfriends, and it's also outside in nature. It's on BLM land, so it's technically wild camping, no restrooms, no nothing. So it shrinks it down to just being with your brother and nothing else. We don't have an agenda, nowhere to be, no bars to be at, no little groups who meet here and there. It's just all of us in one big group. And now we also, we stretch it out. Some come Wednesday, some come Thursday. The official meeting is Friday to Sunday. So it just became something very special and very intimate, where we can just share our true selves without any other impact from anyone, because it's just me. I'm just by myself. Right. And that's been a really healthy experience the last 2 times I've been.
It was my first real meet, and I was able to learn about all this other information within just within line chats. I mean, from that weekend, I was introduced to the veterans chat, which I've been a part of since Four Corners 2 years ago. that's what got me into the lieutenant chat, because that's actually what I was. My first Four Corners was an LT. I mean, it got me so much more information to better my position and be a better officer in the long run. Just being able to hang out and have just every conversation that you could imagine.
It is a multi-chapter meet, but the thing is it's not like other meets. There's no running back and forth to different hotels where everybody's staying. There's no beard competition. It's just bros. And that's the other thing, is it's just for brothers. It's just for us guys. It's that one meet a year where we kind of have the opportunity to reset and get ready for the next coming year in BV, because there's meets every time you turn around. And, guys bring their wives and their girlfriends or their kids and everything. And then it's all about family, which is great because every other single meet is like that. BV is a family thing. But we need just one to kind of bring us all together. And this is probably like, when I think of BV and when I tell guys about BV who are thinking about joining, this is the kind of relationships and whatnot that we talk about, that what I thought or I think BV is all about. And it's just brothers out in the woods having a good time, enjoying that closeness, that togetherness, that kinship that we've built over the past couple years.
There are a lot of brothers out there that have flat out said that if their wife or their kids can't go, then they will not attend. Yeah. And that's their prerogative. I mean, we are about family, and I understand that. But like you said, sometimes what's needed is to be giving to ourselves too.
Well, for me, it's really just getting out in the outdoors. Me personally, I haven't been to any of the other like big like world meets or anything like that. This Four Corners was the first like large multi-chapter meet for myself, and last year was my first time going as the captain. So this will be the first time going as as the as the captain. So just being around multiple chapters, all these guys coming from all different walks of life, and on top of it all, just going out and camping, just having a grand old time, just sitting around the campfire and just shooting the shit and just having a good time and just reconnecting. I try to get out on multiple camping trips during the year, and this is by far the biggest and best one. It's just a party of guys eating a bunch of food all the time, cracking open a few cold ones, and just having a good old time.
I didn't know what to expect on the first one. I know it was a bunch of guys going out camping in the middle of nowhere. It's going to be a great time. Like, all right, let's do it. And it was my first multi-chapter meet.
Oh, wow.
So, yeah, it was, I mean, it's what set the pace for me for BV,
The camaraderie and just everybody coming real close together, just sharing stories around the campfire, like I was saying earlier. Just it's a very intimate time that you get to spend with your brothers. And then as the year goes on, everybody's always getting super hyped up about the next time they all get to get out and go camping together. And it's like as soon as one ends, everybody starts talking about the next time. It's almost as big as the world event for all of us that are in the Four Corner states. We're just like, oh yeah, I can't wait for Four Corners again. And it's nice because it is just a very, like I said, intimate. You don't have all the partying and the beard competitions and all that. It's just guys hanging out, being bros, and being able to talk about whatever's on your mind.
I don't know. There were bonds formed that time, even though I didn't hardly know them. There was bonds formed and continue on till now.
The first year was actually my very first meet ever.
You're kidding.
No, the Utah chapter kind of collapsed right after I got patched. We had the leadership basically just ghost the chapter.
Whoa.
And we were down to 5 members when I found Max and asked him for help in helping me rebuild this chapter. So Max came in and we started talking a lot. And he's like, "Well, there's this great meet at Four Corners. We should try and get everybody to go." He's like, "That would be like a big meet for some of the patch guys to go to." I'm like, "Well, I'll see if I can get the time off." And that first year, it was just mind blowing. Like, me and Max showed up, and there was maybe like 10 other brothers there at the time. Never met any of them in person. Max was literally the only person I had met in person.
Wow.
And first dude walks up, he's like, "Hey man, you want a beer?" Yeah. And like, "Hey, I'm so and so, and we're camped over here, but there's some free spot over here if you want to throw your tent up." Like, just like we had been friends forever.
Well, I mean, it's like no other BV event that people have experienced. So I know people are always like, "Oh, you should try everything once." How many times can you say that you've been to a Bearded Villains meet and were able to go camping? I mean, who doesn't enjoy camping? Whether it's in a tent or in a camper or RV or whatever, you're still out in nature and just hanging out with everyone. It's a good time. So I love it, and I'm especially with like this whole pandemic stuff going on. You definitely need that brotherly love that gets some hugs and fist bumps and whatnot, and just joke around with each other, give each other a hard time or whatnot. But at the end of the day, it's just brothers hanging out, being brothers.
It's a unique event because since there is no charity aspect, and we love doing the charity stuff, we that's it's part of what we do. That's our heart. But a lot of times it seems like we are focused on that charity aspect so much that we want to give back that we sometimes aren't given that chance to really deep dive into the brotherhood and take time for that. So I like that this is specifically designed for that purpose. And the only charity event really that takes place during that time is towards yourselves and towards the brotherhood. So
Exactly.
such a cool way to do it, man.
And it's nice to not have to work at it. This is the meet where it's the least amount of work. There's a lot of travel involved for a lot of the guys, but once you're there, you kind of just watch as guys park and come up into the camping area where we all kind of like build our own little BV town of tents and whatnot. You just kind of see the stress just wash off of guys.
Oh, yeah.
This is the one. Like, if I couldn't make any other meet the entire year, this is the one meet that I make regardless. I've actually told bosses, I'm going camping this weekend. This is not an option. If you have to fire me, go right ahead. I am not missing this.
It's one of those things where if you don't know, you don't know. But as I've heard from several of you guys that go there, have been to most of them. So I think that's an incredible statement to what the weekend becomes, especially for the first timers, because I haven't heard anybody that says that they've been to it that says, well, if I can, I'll go back. No, it becomes an event that they want to be at just as much, if not more, than any of the other meets around.
Oh, I definitely think that's a huge factor in it, because you don't have everybody staying at 5 different hotels. You don't have the all the people, like 100+ people at meet and greets or the event, where you only get to talk to people for like 5-10 minutes before somebody else, and you bounce around everywhere. After parties, like, where's the after party going to be at? I don't know. That hotel, that bar, this restaurant. There's none of that.
That's a good point.
Y'all sleep in the same area. Y'all hang out together. Y'all eat together. I mean, you're not worrying about, oh, let's go to this restaurant and eat with them, or let's go over here and eat with them. No, we all cook. We all eat together. We all clean together. It's brotherhood at its finest.
men inherently don't want to talk about what's going on with them internally. And so, sometimes I think we need to push our brothers to say, yeah, we are about family, but just trust me. We need this, you need this. Come for the weekend or another weekend, whatever they can. But it's really important. And sometimes I think, and you'd probably vouch for this because you've been there and you've seen it firsthand, it's probably a situation where some guys go not knowing what to expect, but when they get done with the weekend, they get so much more out of it than they ever thought they could.
Absolutely. The 2 years that I've been in previously, I absolutely seen that. The first year, I would definitely say that was me. I took a lot away from that weekend. This year, especially for a lot of people, there's a lot of people have had a lot of things happen. I mean, I've talked to you recently this week. Everybody's going through their own things, and this is kind of a de-stressing thing for a lot of people.
Yeah, I love the fact that the timing of this couldn't be any better, because with COVID still here and guys still trying to work out, whether they can have this event or that event, because so much is closed down still, or limited attendance and different things. This is just wide open. And if you want to socially distance around a campfire, you can socially distance around a campfire. But you can still be there. So
Yeah.
that's what I think is so cool about the timing of this, is that it doesn't matter if you're one of those that's a hugger right now and you don't care, and you don't care how close you get to somebody, or whether you want to be far away from somebody and just to make sure, but you still want to go to a BV event. This is something you can still go to. So,
Oh, for sure. Yeah, I love hanging out with everyone, and like you said, being outdoors. It's the perfect opportunity for guys to come out that might be hesitant meeting up somewhere that's indoors where you're more confined, so you can be 6 feet or more away from everyone and still be in the party.
One of the biggest things that Rudy always said was, you know what, if you can get here, we'll figure it out. And that's what I tell all my guys too, is like, just make it there. We can figure out sleeping arrangements, food. Like, everybody always brings extra.
Even if you show up with nothing because you forgot to bring your tent, you realize the first time we did it a little bit later in the year, it was really cold, and you realize your sleeping bag isn't enough. There's always people of us who have extras. We have people who bring, like, oh yeah, I'm bringing 4 tents. I'm bringing 6 sleeping bags. So, oh, I just had my car break down, so I literally have like $5 to my name. We will feed you. That's one big kicker, because we will take care of you. We even pick you up and you can travel with us. So if you can't afford it, this is the cheapest and best meet to go to, because we will just help you out without you telling us in advance. We will just have stuff for you. Something funny that really sticks out, since BLM land is in a state where it's legal to smoke marijuana, one fantastic memory is that on accident we got a tarantula high.
oh jeez.
So someone was smoking a blunt and blowing it in one direction, in one corner, and all of a sudden we literally see a tarantula sideways, kind of walking out of this area, actively being intoxicated from just all of us blowing in that corner. It was pretty hilarious. We even have a hashtag for that. I got a tarantula high.
Oh no.
That's definitely sticks out big time.
That's hysterical.
Yep.
Okay. Disclaimer. No tarantulas were harmed in the creating of this podcast
None at all.
or the stories therein.
I can't tell you, or I don't even know how many vacation photos we are in of other people. The first year we were there, we had, I would say, probably 18 Japanese tourists.
Oh my gosh.
Lumping in with us during group shots. We're in somebody's vacation slideshow. Somebody went home to tell them, I went to the United States, I did all this stuff, and I was at Four Corners, and I met 75 bearded guys, and they all got in this big group picture with me, and it was great. After the weekend after Four Corners is our Bearded Villain Rocky Mountain annual American Foundation for Suicide Prevention Out of the Darkness walk. We are still they're not doing a walk this year. It's a drive, so we're all going to pile in a car and wear masks and drive around the parking lot at Coors Field. But the team is really looking for donations. So if you check out either my Instagram page, which is at Sergeant Mayhem, or any of the other BV Rocky Mountain guys, we all have the links to donate in our Instagram bio, and it's money for a good cause.
Yeah.
Suicide prevention is something that's really near and dear to our hearts, and everybody, especially this year, 2020, with all of the COVID nonsense and, you know, people having to quarantine and stay indoors and stay outside, you know, stay away from people. That kind of stuff really affects people's mental health. I mean, I am in my work is I am in essential services, so I've not had to stop working. I've not, you know, I've everything's been going on really normal for me, aside from having to wear a windsock on my face, which I've talked about on Throw Punch Thursday videos. But we all know that there are people out there and they're really suffering from mental health issues, and they need that outlet. And American Foundation for Suicide Prevention does great work with outreach and education and manning suicide hotlines and things like that. So all of that stuff is really important. And, you know, regardless of what your feelings towards me are, because I am a bit of a loudmouth on Instagram and everywhere else in life, please, please, please reach out and donate. And like I said, even if it's not coming to me, it's going it. And by the way, 100% of the money donated goes straight to American Foundation for Suicide Prevention.
Good.
And then on top of that, they released a stat where 20% of the money that they bring in is for like admin services and things like that. And then 80% of all the money goes to where it needs to go. So American Foundations for Suicide Prevention is a top-notch charity organization. They do a great turnout, not just in Colorado and Denver, but all across the United States. So even if you're not donating to our walk, throw your money there because it's important. Some of us are graced with great working brain chemistry. Some of us are not. And it's not anybody's fault, but people need help, and you can help. And, you know, sorry to end on kind of a heavy note.
No.
You know,
It's that time of year, man.
That's really important to me.
Yeah. Absolutely.
So yeah. So thanks for that opportunity.
Absolutely,
BP.
man. You bet.
I appreciate
bet.
you, brother.
There we go. Oh, guys. There was a very, very funny part at the very end of that, and I'm not sure if I should play it or not. It kind of got off on a little down note there at the end. But let me see if I can pull it in, because at the end of this little video, during the end of my conversation that I had with Max, the one with the accent, he's from, Germany originally, but he is actually living in Hawaii right now. He lives in Hawaii, and his beautiful window that was behind him lit up the whole place. And we had a little conversation about how jealous I was of that and how much he sucked because, well, it's Hawaii and I'm in Indiana. But that aside, we had a small conversation a little bit about, the fact that there was no other chapter in Hawaii right now. So it must be rough on him, being that he's BV Utah. And he missed his brothers and everything like that. But then he started talking for a few minutes about the possibility of, as a side note to the talking about the Four Corners, but that eventually one day he'd like to actually start up something there in Hawaii. And I don't know if it's going to play because it was a pretty funny moment. Let me see if I can pull that back in here for a second. Let's see. It's pretty short.
I'm kind of aiming for having the World Meet 23 in Hawaii, so I have enough time to build a chapter. Hi, Morgan, I love you. Have enough time to build a chapter out here and then have like World Meet 23 in Hawaii. Because enough people flew to Puerto Rico, so I think a few would actually make it to Hawaii if there would be something bigger.
Yeah. Wow, that's definitely something to think about for sure. Mm-hmm. So that happened. I had to include it because I don't think if he didn't really care that, I mean, if he really cared that got out, I don't think he would have said, "Oh, hi, Morgan." So pretty funny stuff though. How funny would that be if in a few years we had a chapter there and we could go to Hawaii? That would be fun. That would be really cool. All right. Just a quick second for some business. Guys, if you are looking for an all-natural beard oil that will not only tame your beard and coarse hairs, but make your beard soft and smell amazing, check out Pulpo Beard Oils. Veteran-owned and made for today's beards, Pulpo Beard products combine the best beard ingredients on the market with incredible customer service to ensure your happiness. Whether you need beard wash, beard oil, beard balm, or some fun clothing, Pulpo is the place to go. Feel fresh, feel savage, feel confident with Pulpo Beard Oils. Go to pulpobeardoils.com. That's Pulpo beardoils.com. Use the code The Heart of a Villain for a discount on your order. Guys, good stuff. Good stuff. So that was the Four Corners meet, and you could probably tell from those guys the way they were talking about it. The brotherhood, the connection, the conversations, everything just getting real. And it's a party atmosphere in some ways because you're there with your brothers for the whole weekend. And in some cases, some guys actually come out earlier than that, a few days earlier. So such a cool thing, though. And it is different from the other events because there is no beard competition. Not to say that, and every single one of them said, not that there's anything wrong with beard competitions or charity, things like that. But this was just a different idea that they wanted. They wanted something where guys could just connect, hang out, and not have to worry about going anywhere else the entire time. So I just think that's a really cool event. I would love to make it there next year. Unfortunately, this year is out for me as well. But I love the fact that what's really, really cool is, especially right now, if there's anybody listening to this podcast that's on the fence, that maybe has time that they can get over there to it, like we said in that interview, this is the perfect event to have during a quarantine or a COVID situation because you can socially distance in a campground. Your brothers that are there are going to respect you. If you want to stay, if you want to wear a mask, go ahead. But if you're not dependent upon a building or an event center or something else, what their limitations will be. It's just you outside. So any limitations that they're going to be are what you set for yourself. So it is kind of the perfect time to have an event like that. So if you want to go hang, that's what you need to do, guys. Find a way to get to Cortez. Hit up any of those guys in Utah, Phoenix, Colorado, all those, every one of those guys there. Hit up any of those guys about the Four Corners meet, and I'm sure they'll tell you all about it for sure. Good stuff. Okay, so let me see what else I have on the agenda here. Let me scroll back through, making sure I didn't miss anybody's fun comments. Oh, one thing I do want to do. This will be fun, not so much for the people listening on the audio form, but something I'm going to be incorporating. Those of you who are still here, something fun that I'm going to be incorporating within the live streams, and everybody that's going to listen to it on a podcast platform later will hear this. But anytime that people have forwarded me information about some news or some cool stuff that has happened within a chapter or brothers, different things like that, it is going to be in a short news segment within the podcast. So without further ado, let's just kick in to our new intro for our news segment. Check this out. The Heart of a Villain news, breaking news. I love that. I thought that was really cool. I'm like a kid in a candy store here with all my toys. I love it. But let's talk about some news here. The Bearded Villains of Michigan just last weekend took some time out and went up to a men's shelter and helped out in giving food and supplies to some homeless gentlemen that are greatly in need in this COVID time frame. This is a really cool thing that a lot of chapters are doing now, because you can still get out there, still wear masks. These kinds of facilities are still open because they need to be open, regardless of what kind of pandemic criteria they have. So, So congratulations to you guys up in Michigan. Great job there. Also, as Aaron here, who is live with us tonight watching on YouTube, indicated, congratulations to him for getting his Sounds Like Villain. And to everyone else who has ranked up in the last week, to either villain, member, loyal, scout, no matter what it is, elite. Congratulations to everybody else that has ranked up in this last week. And that is villain news for this week. Okay. So real quick, before I get into our calendar of events, and I've got a lot of stuff just floating around my desk here now. Before I get into the calendar of events, I do want to talk for a second about two things. And let me kick off some music here to give us something behind it while we're talking. Now let's go with this one instead. Okay. So for a little while now, people have been asking me here on the podcast about, is there a way, I've had a few people reach out to me, is there a way for, are you doing any kind of Patreon account or any kind of, account where you can, a membership system or something like that, where people that are, fans or friends or whatever it is of the podcast, where they can contribute and help out the podcast in any way, shape, or form. And I've been very hesitant to do that, just because I think it kind of goes against a little bit of what it's about. But I've been speaking with a few other people who do similar podcasts in nature to what I do and different shows. And they've all said, well, it's not a form of you asking them to, constantly do stuff, but you at least want to have something out there so that people who do support what you do can show their support in some ways, because there is, costs associated with all the different stuff that we do with these shows. And where it's not so much that, but it will give me some opportunities down the road to be able to do other things. And so it's essential that I'm going to keep this stuff going regardless. So this could be something that people take advantage of and contribute to, or not. And if they don't, that's fine by me. I've been doing just fine, 47 episodes without it. But I was suggested to, and I'm gonna cow down to it a little bit, but I'm doing it in a fun way. So I'm not just having a blanket account there. There is a site that you can go out to, and it's called, some of you may be familiar with it, called buymeacoffee.com. And so what I've set up is, it's not Buy Me a Coffee, it's on the website buymeacoffee.com. And if you go to buymeacoffee.com/Heart of a Villain, there's no the in that one. So buymeacoffee.com/Heart of a Villain, you can buy me a coffee. Well, actually, I have it set up that you can buy me a beer. So that's one of the options. So you can buy me a beer there on the buymeacoffee.com. And there's dollar amounts that you can do. And it's just, a few dollars here or there. But it's a way of saying thank you. So I would say thank you to you also. But it's out there. If anybody wants to contribute to the show by any means necessary, that's fine. Otherwise, the merch is still out there, shirts, patches, pins, all the good stuff. We're constantly doing orders, and when we get enough people in for the orders, I've got an order that's out right now. I'm waiting for it to come back in for shirts. But patches, pins, and the poker chips are in stock. So keep that stuff in mind if you are so inclined to do so. All right. So we're going to get right in here now to our calendar of events. It's a short one this week, relatively speaking. September 11th through the 13th, so next weekend, as we've been talking about it, the Four Corners meet is in Cortez, Colorado. Go back and rewatch this episode or re-listen to this episode if you have any questions about what it is. Hopefully you don't, but it's a good listen anyway to go back to it. Except for the bad part at the beginning where it was just bad interview. But anyway, Four Corners meet next weekend, September 11th through the 13th. September 25th to the 27th, the Bearded Villains Missouri Valley 2nd anniversary takes place with a beard competition, vendors, door prizes. There's a meet and greet on, the meet and greet is at the Last Hotel's rooftop at 1501 Washington Avenue in St. Louis. The beard competition is from 1 to 5 p.m. at Four Hands Brewing Company at 1220 South 8th Street in St. Louis. There's also a farewell brunch the next day. Then we get to October 3rd, Battle of the Beards 2020. Be held in Southern Indiana and Newburgh, Indiana, hosted by the Bearded Villains of Southern Indiana. It benefits the Gresham House, and it's at the American Legion Post 44, 711 State Street in Newburgh. That's Battle of the Beards, October 3rd. The October 16th and 17th Florida Summit officially was canceled, but the guys are still going to host people that want to come down, hang out. So, although not officially a Florida Summit, if you're interested, there's still a chat out there that you can go in and talk to the guys. Otherwise, reach out to any of those guys down in Florida, and they'll hook you up with some of the, the arrangements that didn't go through, but they'll tell you what to do if you're still interested in coming down to hang out. And then October 24th, Bearded Villains of Indiana will be celebrating their 5th anniversary. Our 5th anniversary. I'm part of them. October 24th. Details still forthcoming on what is all going to be happening. But yeah, October 24th, BVIN, Bearded Villains of Indiana, with the 5th anniversary. All right. So while I've still got a minute, I did want to also say I found another fun little trinket I can contribute here. I can pop on. I didn't want to go away without popping on all my fun little trinkets I found. But here we go. Check this out. On the screen right now, kaboom, if you use your camera on your phone and you scan that, that will take you directly to this little site right there, theheartofavillain.simplecast.com, where you can catch up on all the other audio versions of all the previous 46 podcast episodes, and you can get the cool merch stuff. So good stuff out there. Theheartofavillain.simplecast.com. If you can't remember that, scan that little guy that's on your little screen right now, and it should take you there automatically. Okay, guys, you know what that means. Oh, before I get to that, I do want to acknowledge Rob with his comment. Rob, I do know I am planning on getting back to you within the next, give me a couple of hours tonight. By tomorrow, I will have your answer for you. I was trying to work it out. It's been kind of screwy at the post office. So I will get you an answer by tomorrow. Okay, then hit me up on the line where you hit me up before, and we'll go back and forth on that to solidify a quote for sure. Okay. All right, guys. You know what that means. It means that'll end episode 47 of The Heart of a Villain. Remember, as I said, you can still buy the shirts, patches, pins, all the good stuff at theheartofavillain.simplecast.com. And I want to challenge all of you guys. Be the villain that the world needs you to be, because the heart of a villain never stops beating. Finally, guys, most importantly, as always, and very important this week, it's okay not to be okay. If you are hurting, please find a brother to talk to. Remember, it's okay not to be okay. So for now, have a great weekend, guys. Enjoy the week ahead. Take care and stay safe.
From my chapter to yours, we're all one, no borders. Don't get it twisted like contortionists in close quarters. My crew has more heads than peeps cleaning up on borders. When Blah, Jelly, and I, we come together, transformers. So when we meet up, handshakes, brews, and salutes. Every brother is different, fingerprints and attributes.